Welcome to Karma's a Stitch. I'm Tonya, and it is December 31st, 2024. I cannot believe it. I think about it, and in some ways, this year has flown by. Like, I cannot believe that it is already December 31st. Where has the year gone? But on another respect, I think about where I was on January 1st of this year, and it seems like it was forever ago. I was in a different home, I was in a different town, I was in a different stage of, I was just in a very different place. And that seems like such a long time ago. And yet December 31st is here. I cannot believe it. Now, this is going to be a really exciting episode for me. I was talking with a friend of mine earlier this morning, and she's like, let me know when the video's up, because she is all about numbers and statistics and things. So this is it. This will be my 2024 of knitting. Now, if you guys watched my WIP roundup, or if you watched my Vlogmas, or if you even watched Vlogtober, I talked about how I was doing those things. I was doing Vlogtober, I was doing my WIP roundup, I was doing Vlogmas, but I had a full WIP wall, and I really wanted to spend December wrapping up some of those WIPs, making room for 12 cast-ons. And I ended up making the mistake of choosing a highly addictive pattern to knit with my Advents this year. And I didn't want to knit on anything else. I really just wanted to make mitered square after mitered square after mitered square, which I did, which I did do. But I did manage to get an FO or two finished in the month of December, and it was really this last 2 weeks. I was like, holy smokes, December 31st is coming quick. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about the FOs that I finished. Some of them I don't think will surprise you if you watched the WIP roundup, because there were a couple that I was really close on. So let me start with the one I finished last night. Now, this project is the only one that I blocked, and I'll tell you, I blocked it because it seemed small. Like, I did the whole pattern, 2 pattern, and it just seemed small. So I wanted to block it to really show off the pattern. I wanted to show off the stitches, and I wanted to get a better idea of how big it was gonna be. So this was the Rain and Roses, designed by Aspen Knits. Here is a picture. And mine is not that big, okay? Now, I'll show you how much wool I have left. This was done on a US 4. So this was a hedgehog fiber potluck color, okay? And I did weigh this last night so that I could put it in my spreadsheet. One second. So that I could put it in my spreadsheet. But I don't remember what the number was. 32 grams left of this hedgehog fiber. And then this here was Studio 29, I believe. Yep, here's my US 4 Chow 29 Bridges Studio. Okay, and for that one, I had 50 grams left. So this is my leftover for this project. And maybe I didn't block it as aggressively, but even, look, empty project bag now. Woohoo! Even as I was making it, I was like, gosh, this just isn't that big. So I'll move my chair back so you can see here. And maybe it is as long. Let's see if I can go back a little further here. I mean, it's very pretty. It was a lot of fun. The rows went pretty quickly for the short rows, which was a lot of fun. The German show, it was just a very fun project. I did enjoy it, but it's really not that large. Oh, look, there's some fringe. It's just not that large, which is fine if you're okay with that. But when I put that much work into a pattern, I kind of like to see it. You know what I mean? But if you've been around here for a while, you'll know I don't wear mini shawls. So this is probably destined for my tote. But it was a lot of fun to do. I really did enjoy it. Let me turn my chair back around closer. I don't know why. I have another FO that I may need to move this back and show you. But that's okay. So there you go. This is my Rain and Roses shawl by Aspen Knits. Now, let's look at the next one. This here was a pattern that I got with one of my 2023 Advents. Okay, and I got an Advent from Allison Stufer with Lofty Loops yarn. I did get her Advent last year, 2023, and it came with this Sleigh All Day wrap. Okay, but I didn't want, and there's another picture of it a little closer. Now, I did not want to use her Advent, her wool, with this project. So I took another Advent from Mouse Witch Yarns, and I put Mouse Witch Yarns Advent into this. Now, this pattern, if you look at it, has lots of different lace detail. This is a better picture here. So you have this bit, you have a brioche bit, you have this pattern, and you have a bit of a garter section in between each. Now what I did with mine was I took a neutral color, okay, and I did each of the garter sections in this wool. Now what did I use for that natural color? I used two things. I used, this one here is Juniper Moon, Moonshine Fine, Baby Alpaca, Organic Silk, Highland Wool, and Recycled Nylon. Now, this looks, it's not like a stark white, okay? It's definitely an off-white, right? And I held it with a mohair, Lana Gato Mohair Royal. And that was a 25 gram with 235 yards. And I used that whole thing, but I was so close to the end of the wrap that I ended up just not holding the mohair for like the last two garter sections, which wasn't a big deal. But here we go. Here is the Sleigh All Day wrap. And I didn't block this one. I wish I would have, but I didn't. So there you have it. Now, here is this. Now keep in mind, this is Mouse Witch Yarns 2023 Advent with the Sleigh All Day wrap that I got with my Lofty Loops. I mean, the stitches, the pattern was amazing. Mouse Witch Yarns colors, look at that. I mean, but it's long. Where my Rain and Roses was small, this is big. This is a big one. And if you'll look here, I don't know if you can even see the difference. I had mohair on this one, but I didn't in this one. And I just don't think it was that big of a deal. I'm gonna take my stitch marker off now. But this is really quite large. but I love it. It was a lot of fun. The sections were small, so you didn't lose interest. Look at those colors, you guys. Oh my goodness. And it was about this, it was the same four. There's 4 patterns in here. There's a brioche section, there's this lace bit, there's this lace bit, and then there's this lace bit. And you just put brioche in between. So this was a really fun one, which I do want to block because this is one, because it's a wrap, I'm more apt to wear this. Now, I told you I used all of the mohair, and I have, like this bag here is only half, probably 3/4 of the wool I have left from Mandy's Advent at Mousewitch Yarns. Okay, these are all the colors that I finished off in December. So what I ended up doing is, as I finished one, I weighed how much I had left so that I could get it into my spreadsheet. We'll talk more about my spreadsheet in a minute. So I had quite a bit left. So a lot of the scraps that I have up here that I didn't use, I can put hexies into my hexie blanket. I can make squares with my C2C blankets. I have other scrappy projects that I can get some of these scraps put into before they ultimately go into my granny stripe blanket. So let's see here. Another empty project bag waiting for 12 cast-ons. Now, I have another FO. And that is held in this bag. And this is my fragmentation. Now, if you watched my whip roundup, this probably doesn't surprise you because this was so very close. And it was a fun project. I don't remember, gosh, he has this in a book too. He put out several that had the symmetrical, geometric thing colors, but I have a lot. Now, with this pattern, okay, I'll see if I can find a good picture. There's 7 wedges, okay, so if you look at here, you can see the different wedges. And each wedge had 21 stripe blocks in it. And I know that I always have so much extra when I do a Stephen West, and so I ended up adding 2 stripe blocks, okay, at the end of each wedge. So there's, from here down this wedge, there's 21 stripes. I ended up adding 2 more at the end of this, which is the widest part of the shawl, right? So I used up some of it, but I still have so much of each color, so much. But again, I can put these into how many of my scrappy projects. I mean, I have a few scrappy projects that I can put these into. My needles. You ready to see the shawl? Bum, ba-dum, ba-dum. Look at how gorgeous that is. I am so pleased with how this turned out. Yeah, so if you look here, the pattern ended here. I added 2 extra stripes, but those are the longest stripes in a wedge. So yes, look at that. So fun. Now, would I do this again? In a heartbeat, but I would want to make sure that I had the right colors. Okay, let's move my chair forward again. I would want to make sure that I had the right colors. I wouldn't do this again unless I had just the right colors, because I do think the colors made this project. But that's kind of how I feel about a lot of Stephen West projects, is I can look at some of them and I'm like, I don't know that I'm in love with that. I don't know that I would make that. But then I see it in some people's color selections and I'm like, absolutely, that works. And I could make that. So let's go ahead and take a look at yet another empty project bag off my whip wall. Okay, I have one more FO for the end of the year. And it is held in this project bag. And it is my reverse loop sweater by Other Loops. And that is on Ravelry. Here's and it's the reverse loop sweater by Other Loops, okay? And this was, I took this to church with me a lot. I worked on this project a ton at church. Now, I used interchangeable set. It's done on a US 6. I used, let's see here. Oh, I've got so many little things in here. I used Noro. I'm trying to find I'm getting some of my DPNs back out of a project bag now, which I love DPNs. I have all these little tags that don't give you any information. There's no writing on here that I understand. So I'm trying to collect all of those out of my project bag until I can finally find the one, an invitation to the church Christmas. Okay, so this was done with a US 6, and I did use DPNs for the sleeves, and it was done in the Compieto base by Noro, and that's 35% silk, 35% cotton, 30% palmide. This was a 150 gram ball with 450 meters per ball, and I used 4 of them in their entirety. I had nothing left over. At the end, I actually ended up running out, but I only ran out. I had already bound off. But the thing with this project is when you bind off, I'm gonna take my progress keeper off of here. When you bind off 2 inches above or 1.5 inches above or something, you did a purl row, okay? Did a purl row, and then you fold those final 2 inches down and sew it inside of the hem. Okay, so this is the inside of my sweater, and you fold it at that purl row, and it gives you a really nice clean edge down here. So my reverse loop sweater, here, let's get this out of my lap, this empty project bag. And we have my reverse loop sweater. Look at that. Should I try it on? I should try it on. 1 second. I'll take my flannel off. I just got home from a walk with Alex and the dogs, so I was wearing a tank top, and I was just like, oh, I'll just put my flannel on over and do my recording. Okay. Move my chair back yet again. Yeah. So the material that I used was like a sweatshirt material, and you can see here this nice clean edge, but it looks like a cuff because you do a purl row and then you fold it inside and seam it. And I love it. This has not been blocked. I believe it'll grow in length quite a bit, but I love it so much. I love here because it's all purl and then it's knit down below. Oh, it turned out so good and it's so comfortable. I love it. I love it. I love things that are baggy on my body. This is absolutely something that I will hang out at home in. I love the neck, the collar of it. It's nice and loose. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, but I did just get back from a walk, so I'm quite warm. Okay, let's move the chair back up here. So, that's pretty exciting. I got 4 FOs done. Now, the reason, well, obviously I needed room on my whip wall. But you guys remember this chart. This was my 2024 projects. All right, now if you look over here, these are typed. Over here, this is everything handwritten. Now, everything that's typed is what I came in to 2024 with. On January 1st, Erica and I sat and typed up that list and printed it. Everything that's handwritten, I cast on in 2024. So, Kimber, this is the part. This is the part. And please squeeze Tabitha. I love her. So here it comes. You ready? And I'm gonna try to put all of it right here as I go. That'll be my editing portion for today. So 2024, I started with 31 whips. Okay. I cast on during 2024. Oh, I just remembered. I cast on 35 projects. What I just remembered, I have 34 written here. I didn't add my Advent project, my Advent blanket. So I had 35 cast-ons in 2024, which gives us 66 whips in 2024. Of those 66 whips, I have 37 FOs. 37 FOs in 2024. Now, I broke it down further. Okay. I had I did not have 33 pairs of socks. I had 3. 3 of those 37 projects were socks. I had 3 hats. I had 2 tees. I had 11 cowls, shawls, or scarves. I had 5 sweaters or cardigans. I had 1 baby blanket for Tabitha. And I had 12 miscellaneous projects. That would be my Christmas stockings. I made some crochet bags for Alex and her friends. I made some ball huggers. I made a couple of dishcloths. I made a couple of crochet bowls. So those types of things make up the miscellaneous category, and I had 12 of those. So I currently have 29 whips. Yes, that's right. I am finishing the year with fewer whips than I came into the year with. I think that's pretty great. I think that's pretty fantastic, actually. I need to look at my iPad. I just want to make sure, real quick, bear with me. I want to see, because when I was looking at how many things I cast on, I don't know if that, I know that I had written down 34, but I don't know if I counted my Advent project. So I'm gonna look here and see. Right, so it was 35 projects cast on. That would mean 66 whips in 2024. And that would mean that I have 29 whips. 28 of them are on my whip wall. And my mitered square Advent memory blanket is next to my bed, because I'll do a mitered square or two before bed at night while I listen to an audiobook. So, you guys, that's my year. Now, of all of those FOs that I had, okay, I had 37 FOs. 37 FOs. And I kept them in a spreadsheet. Okay, and when I started a project, I weighed how much the actual skein was. Okay, if the label says 100 grams and it was 400 meters, then I put that in there. But then I weighed it. And if it was actually 105 grams, I entered that in there and it calculated how many meters I actually have in that skein. And then I weigh it when I'm finished, when the project is an FO. So this number that I'm getting ready to give you is only for my FOs. So those 29 projects that are still on my whip wall or next to my bed, none of that knitting is going into these next numbers. Okay, these numbers that I'm getting ready to give you are just for my FOs. Okay, because then it added up for me how many grams I had left, and it subtracted that yardage and added up all the yards that actually went into my 37 FOs for the year. Okay, now yards crafted this year was 29,991.5 yards. So in miles, because I have that calculation, so it takes the yardage and I multiply it so that I have the 5,280 feet. And it is 17 miles, 0.0406. 17.0406 miles is what I finished crafting in 2024. I think that's pretty amazing. This is the first year I've kept track of that. And like these minis that I had left of Mouse Witch yarns, those came out. So these will not go into that that yardage. I think that's pretty amazing. I feel pretty great about that. I feel amazing that I came out of 2024 with fewer whips than I went into it with, which tells me that this year I'm gonna do the exact same thing that I did last year, and I'm just gonna keep rolling the dice and going through my projects, because that gave me so much joy and there was no boredom, and I was excited to work on everything because I had done that whip roundup. I knew that everything on my whip wall was stuff that I wanted to work on. So yeah, I think that I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. It's working for me, and I'm clearly getting things off of the needles, and I've had so much joy doing it. You guys have been so supportive and so amazing this whole year. I just want to thank you guys for subscribing and watching and being a part of my family in 2024. I've had so many great comments about Anthony and Alex, and I just love that you guys have been able to watch my family over this past year. It's been wonderful, and I've loved engaging with everybody. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up in 2025, and I will see you guys next year. Bye.